Miss Penny. Welcome to Bonnet House. Very good to see you.
You
Are you
too.
ready for your tour of Bonnet House?
I am.
Let's let the tour begin.
Yes.
The Bonnet House was built in 1920 and home to artist Frederick Barlett. Now it's a museum that everyone can visit.
Miss Penny, you come to one of those unique places in all of South Florida, so I'd be glad to help you any way that I can.
Great, because we want to find out about your job. We'd also like to take a tour of this beautiful Bonnet House.
My job primarily is to try to get people to understand what we have here, which is, to my mind, is the treasure of all of South Florida.
So I guess the first question I'll ask you is, what exactly is a tour?
A tour is a trip back in time to understand how this house came to exist.
And how would you define your job as a tour guide?
Try to help people understand how this place came to be, what it is, and how lucky we are to have it. And to me, that's my job.
Why are tours important?
It's so much better when you can understand what's here, why it's here, and so many different aspects of it. And that if you don't take the tour, you'd never know.
Right.
You wouldn't understand the essence of everything that this place represents.
What makes a good tour guide?
A good tour guide has to understand what's here and really love what's here. And I think it's not counting things and saying there are 6 of this and 4 of that. I think it's understanding the background, the history, and how it all came to be.
And what are the ages of tour guides here?
Youngest one would probably be about 16, and the oldest one, 85 or so.
Do they have a specific training so they make sure everyone is on the same page?
Specific training is generally a 3-day training session that you go through, so you'll get the exposure to the art, to the family, to the grounds, everything about it.
And then does someone go on the tour with you to make sure that you're on the right track?
Initially, yes. And it's funny because I started volunteering, I think, 11 years ago. And the last time that I'd been here before that was 65 years ago. And here I am 55 years later and start volunteering at a place where I had my high school yearbook picture taken.
Yeah, that's great.
Crazy coincidence.
Has it changed much since then?
Not really. And that to me is the beauty of it, that the place is still here. And it's just such a unique, special place to be a museum. It's a museum, but it's not really a museum. In my mind, it's just someone's beautiful house that you love to live in and run around in. And the funny thing is, everyone on the tour tends to have a different reaction. Some of them are fascinated by the building, some of them are fascinated by the courtyard outside, others are fascinated by the paintings. It just offers so much of a variety. You got to find something you like in this house. And I think that's what the guide helps you distinguish. Once they identify what your particular interest might be, can I focus you to meet that interest? And I think that's what distinguishes the guided tour from the self-guided tour.
You can, if you want to, just walk through a building, but you get so much more out of it. It's so much more meaningful. You remember it, you've made a connection to it, and you understand where you've been.
Totally agree with you. Are you ready for your tour now?
I am.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. And where are we at this moment?
We are in the kitchen. Got a beautiful old gas range, a refrigerator. You'll see these stanchions with the ribbons on there because we need to protect everything that's here. Everything that's in here, it's really special, and a lot of it is very, very old, and we don't want people getting touchy, shall we say.
Right, and I think everyone understands when they see that to stay behind.
So stay behind, and that's the fair way to do it for everybody.
As we get started on our tour, I'd like to find out about how people would identify a tour guide.
The easiest way to identify a tour guide is if they have blue shorts and a yellow shirt, which are 2 of the 3 colors you'll see prominently around Bonnet House, the 3rd color being red. And of course everyone has their little name tag at the same time, identifying their name and that they're a volunteer here at the house.
I like that your colors are blue and yellow. I appropriately wore the right colors today for the Bonnet House. And I also see that you have a map. Do you give people maps?
If you pick up the map when you come in the door, as you'll see one side of it, it shows house tour map. And it really gives you a nice flow plan of stops that you want to go to, one after the other, and make sure you don't miss anything along the way. And again, of course, on the other side, it shows the ground tour map, so you can find the building and the grounds, the waterway in front of the house, how to get over that, how to visit the different areas. There's just a lot of things to see here if you take your time and really appreciate what's here.
And it's helpful to have a map to show you around. Like you said, then you don't miss anything and you know where you are.
Absolutely, because this is a confusing place and people aren't sure where do I go next. And these maps are so helpful. Are you ready to go visit another room?
I am.
Please lead on.
Thank you. I love as we walk around the house, we see all these different and beautiful paintings.
But this one is my personal favorite because here's Frederick dancing with Evelyn, wife number 3. Have you ever heard the expression, she dances like she has 2 left feet?
Yes.
Well, take a look at Evelyn because she's got a left foot here and she's got a left foot there. He's painted her with 2 left feet. And remember when we were back in the studio and you saw the drawings that he did when he was 20 and 21 years old, and then you realize that over a period of time, artists evolve. They keep trying different things, and this is, I think, is just, in its own way, it's really, really cool.
It's delightful.
So enjoy. That's why you've got to wander the property. You've got to really be looking all the time because every 10 or 20 feet you're going to see something different. It's just crazy.
It's true. I see so many paintings and objects of animals, and it's a treasure.
And the flowers and the bushes and the bird cage and everything. It just goes on and on and on. I think that's why I think it's such a special place. Everywhere you look, there's something different to look at. African carvings to go with the ostrich. There's just so much variety in this place. Everywhere you look, there's something different, isn't there? It's just that to me is what's so special about this house. You've got to find something you like. You really have to find something you like.
And such a variety of different things, from paintings to mosaics to murals to statues. Yeah. And you're right about the colors, like the yellow just really brings out everything.
Those are the 3 primary colors. And that's what you work with. You work with blue, you work with yellow, and you work with red. And I think they did such a wonderful, wonderful, tasteful job of doing it. And welcome to the Orchid House Shell Museum.
Well, I love the idea that he has some of his favorite things. He has shells collected from around the world. He has beautiful orchids with a fountain so that you can smell and see and enjoy the beauty of nature.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Joe, for being an excellent tour guide. I understand now that tour guides must have passion because you have passed that passion on about the Bonnet House. It was a wonderful tour. I really appreciated it.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
And tell your friends to come and enjoy it also.
I will, and I'll be back.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Hi, boys and girls, it's Miss Penny. Put on your thinking caps. It's time to learn a new word.
Map. A map is a drawing that represents a specific area by looking at its physical features from an overhead perspective.
What was that word?
Map.
Good job.
Stanchion. A stanchion is an upright bar with retractable ropes that are used to create barriers.
What was that word?
Stanchion.
Good job.
Tour. A tour is a brief trip through a place for the purpose of seeing it and understanding the interesting things that are at the location.
What was that word?
Tour.
Good job.
Tour guide. A tour guide is a person who guides visitors around a tourist attraction, giving them interesting and entertaining information.
What was that word?
Tour guide.
Good job. See you next time.